All right, a huge welcome to all you IGNOU students gearing up for your exams. You have landed in the perfect place. We are going to break down a really crucial topic, micro-level planning and the economic models that planners use. My entire goal here is to make this crystal clear, super simple, and, something you can actually remember when you're sitting in that exam hall.
So here's our game plan. First up, we're going to tackle the why, like why do we even need this micro-level stuff? Then we'll get into the how, the actual models planners have in their toolkit. After that, and this is super important for getting top marks, we're going to put on our critic's hat and look at their limitations. And we'll wrap it all up with a powerful summary so everything is locked in. Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1. First things first, we've got to understand the fundamental idea here. Why bother planning at the micro level? This is the foundation for everything that follows, so let's get this right.
So what exactly are we talking about? Well, imagine you've got this huge nationwide plan. It's great for the big picture, but it can't possibly know the unique problems or advantages of one specific district, right? That's where micro-level planning comes in. It's like using a magnifying glass to zoom in on a local area and tailor that big national plan to fit what's actually happening on the ground.
This brings up a really critical question, and it's definitely the kind of thing an examiner would love to ask. I mean, if we already have a national plan, why do we need to do all this extra work? What's the justification? Well, it turns out there are 5 core reasons for this, and we're going to go through them right now.
Now, here is a fantastic trick for your exam. To remember these 5 points, just think of the word crisis. Let's break it down. C is for special capabilities. Some regions just have unique skills or resources, maybe a coast that's perfect for fishing. R is for regional differences. I mean, a plan that works for the Himalayan mountains is not going to work for the deserts of Rajasthan, right? I is for local industries that depend on specific local resources. S is for special needs. Think about a district that's always facing droughts versus one that's prone to floods. And that last IS is for initiative and shared cooperation. This one's absolutely massive. When local people see a plan that gets their reality, they're so much more likely to get on board and make it a success.
Okay, so that covers the why. Now, let's dive into Section 2 and get into the how. How do planners actually make these decisions? Well, this is where economic models enter the picture.
So what on earth is a planning model? Don't let the term scare you. The easiest way to think of it is as a kind of mathematical recipe or a toolkit. It's not just a bunch of vague ideas. It's a formal framework that uses numbers and data to show how things like investment, savings, and economic growth are all connected. It's the tool that helps planners turn broad goals into actual, measurable targets.
Now, for your exam, it's absolutely crucial to know that not all models are created equal. They basically fall into 3 main categories, kind of going from a wide bird's-eye view to a super detailed ground-level view. We start with the simple, aggregative models. Then we zoom in a bit with sectoral models. And finally, we get to the really complex, all-encompassing, comprehensive models.
And let's dig into those sectoral models for a second, because there's a really important distinction here. On one hand, you have single sector models that might look at, say, the entire steel industry as just one big project. But the complete main sector model is a lot smarter. It understands that the steel industry needs coal from the mining sector and power from the energy sector. It's all about seeing the connections, that crucial interdependence between different parts of the economy.
Okay, stop what you're doing and look at this slide. This is pure exam gold. Seriously, you might want to screenshot this. It lays out the 3 types perfectly. You've got aggregative for the big macro picture, and the classic example is the Hare-Domar model. Then you have sectoral, focusing on specific industries, and you absolutely must know the Mahalanobis model for that. And finally, comprehensive, which uses those detailed input-output tables. Knowing these 3 types and their key examples is a guaranteed way to score points. Awesome. So we've got the why, and we've got the how. But if you really want to stand out and get those higher marks, you can't just describe things. You have to analyze them critically. So let's get into the limitations of these models, which is something examiners absolutely love to see you discuss.
This quote from your source material, wow, it just hits the nail on the head. These economic models can be brilliant with numbers, but they have a massive blind spot, people. They often completely ignore things like social structures, cultural attitudes, or even the quality of political leadership. The text calls this a serious lapse, and that is the perfect phrase to use in your answer. It's probably the single biggest weakness you need to be able to talk about.
And hey, you guessed it, we've got another killer mnemonic to help you remember these criticisms for your exam. Just remember the word MINO. M is for misplaced aggregation. That's a fancy way of saying the models oversimplify things, lumping complex realities into one single number. I is for the isolation of variables, where they pretend one factor isn't connected to a dozen others. N is for the neglect of non-economic factors, that huge, human-shaped blind spot we just talked about. And O is for one-factor analysis, which is the mistake of thinking there's a single magic bullet, like just increasing investment, that will solve everything.
All right, let's bring it all home. We've covered a lot of ground, so let's distill everything down to one final power pack slide. This is the stuff you want to be replaying in your mind as you walk into that examination hall.
Okay, this is it. This is your final revision checklist. You need to have these 4 things down cold. First, the definition of micro-level planning. It's all about regional needs. Second, the 5 reasons why we do it. Just remember crisis. Third, the 3 main types of models: aggregative, sectoral, and comprehensive, with their key examples. And fourth, the 4 big criticisms of these models, and you'll remember those with MECE. Honestly, if you can explain these 4 points clearly, you are in fantastic shape for your exam.
And as we wrap up, I just want to leave you with one final question to think about, something that goes a little beyond the textbook. We know these models are flawed, right? We know they often miss the human side of the story. So the real question for the future is this: how can we build better models? How can planners start to integrate the messy, complex reality of human society with the neat, clean world of economic data? That's the challenge ahead. Thanks so much for joining me, and I wish you all the very best for your exams.